Welcome everyone, let's jump right in. So, we're looking at this massive leak that details world governments' hidden secrets about UFOs. It's like decades of hidden history coming to light, right?
Absolutely. It's crazy to think about all this classified info, from Project Blue Book right up to the recent legislative moves like the 2024 National Defense Authorization Act. It paints a picture of a full-on disclosure tsunami.
Exactly. And if you think about it, it's more than just those old UFO studies. We've got everything. From the Condon Committee, which basically dismissed evidence despite having some pretty compelling data, to the 1953 Robertson panel that actively worked to discredit UFO sightings.
Right. The history is super tangled. It's like they engineered a systematic cover-up, but then you have the turning point with the Navy videos, like those captured in 2004 and again in 2015, which really shook things up.
Yeah, the Navy encounters were a game changer. You had actual footage of objects performing seemingly impossible aerial maneuvers, and people even started to take notice when the New York Times broke the story in 2017.
Exactly. And then there's the Pentagon's official releases in 2020 with videos like FLIR, Gimbal, and Go Fast, all clearly stated as unidentified. It's almost like the government was nudging us towards transparency.
Right. And 2022 even brought congressional hearings into the room. For decades, this type of information was only spoken about in whispers behind closed doors. Now we're actually getting politicians to ask real questions.
Speaking of politicians, let's talk about the 2024 National Defense Authorization Act. This legislation is a real eye-opener. It mandates, among other things, the collection and disclosure of decades' worth of UFO records by the National Archives.
Yeah, and then there's the Emerson Amendment, which goes even further. It essentially forces the hand of authorities to look for and release info on non-human intelligence and even recovered craft from alleged crash retrievals. It's like a legal push for full transparency.
It almost seems too good to be true, right? With whistleblower protections in place now, government insiders can safely come forward without fear. Remember Michael Shellenberger's bombshell testimony before the House Oversight Committee? That was huge.
Agreed, for sure. His testimony, along with hints from others, basically claimed that elements within military and intelligence agencies have been deliberately keeping significant UAP information hidden. That's pretty intense stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, but here's where I get a bit skeptical. I mean, isn't it possible that some of these testimonies could be politically motivated? I mean, the idea of recovered non-human materials sounds like blockbuster sci-fi sometimes.
Well, let's talk about that. I see your point, but consider the corroboration from multiple whistleblowers. David Grush, Luis Elizondo, Christopher Mellon, even Ryan Graves. These are pretty seasoned insiders with military backgrounds, and they're essentially stating that the US has been reverse engineering technology of unknown origin.
True enough. Yeah, it does sound like there's a significant shift happening. Plus, the evolution of the Pentagon's own task forces, from ATIP all the way to the current ARO, shows a long-term institutional focus on these anomalous phenomena.
Absolutely. And it's not just the US. International efforts like France's GIPAN show a more open and scientific approach to investigating UFOs. Unlike the US's secretive stance, France has been releasing indexed and detailed reports since 2007.
Right. This international contrast is fascinating. On one hand, you've got these high-security government disclosures here, and on the other, a country actively engaging with the public on its findings. It's like two different philosophies on handling the unknown.
Indeed, exactly. And then there's the whole realm of recovered materials. Whistleblower claims suggest that there are materials with properties that defy our current scientific understanding, like memory metals and radiation traces not consistent with any known earthly process.
Very intriguing. It's almost like these materials could revolutionize everything, from energy generation to advanced propulsion systems. Imagine anti-gravity lifts and energy extracted from zero-point fields, potentially solving massive world challenges like energy poverty.
Yeah, totally. And that ties directly to the technological implications of such a disclosure. Not only are we talking about new aerospace tech, but also potential breakthroughs in materials science, quantum computing, and even spacecraft capable of interstellar travel.
Right, it could be a paradigm shift. Exactly. But let's circle back to the whistleblower aspect for a moment. These insiders are really providing the backbone for this whole narrative of governmental secrecy. Their testimonies highlight institutional resistance and even instances of private contractors like Lockheed Martin or Boeing possibly running their own covert programs.
Yes, it's like a mosh pit of secrecy, with multiple players, the government, private contractors, and the military intelligence complex, all entangled, each with their own incentives. It's messy, but fascinating.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the role of special access programs. These programs compartmentalize info so that even high-ranking officials might not have the full picture. That's a big barrier to transparency, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And these bureaucratic hurdles have been a part of why the full truth has remained hidden. The legal classification system, with its endless delays and need-to-know compartments, has allowed information to be locked away for decades.
So, with all these moving parts, what do you think the next step is? Will 2025 really be the year of full disclosure?
Good question. Well, based on the momentum from the latest legislative measures, there's a sense that the pressure is mounting. The Emerson Amendment and strict reporting timelines for intelligence agencies are real game changers. It's almost like they're saying, no more secrets.
Right on. Yet, we still have these national security concerns. Governments argue that revealing advanced tech could destabilize military advantages or trigger geopolitical chaos. It's a tricky balance between public right to know and protecting strategic assets.
Yeah, indeed. It's like trying to juggle a bomb. You only have so many seconds before something goes off. The risk of exposing these technologies might be too high for some agencies, and that's a key reason for institutional resistance.
I can see that, but don't you think the public has the right to know, especially if there's something as potentially transformative as non-human technology?
Yeah. Well, I'd say there's a justified tension there. Right. And, this tension is even spilling over into religious and philosophical realms. Think about it. Confirmation of non-human science could challenge centuries-old views on human exceptionalism and even alter major religious narratives.
That's a fascinating consequence. Absolutely. I mean, some theologians are already speculating, for instance, that baptizing aliens might even become a theological debate. That's a whole new frontier for religious thought.
Exactly. And this re-evaluation goes beyond religion. Imagine historical texts and ancient accounts of celestial beings suddenly getting a reinterpretation through the lens of advanced, possibly extraterrestrial technology. It's revolutionary.
Indeed, it's like rewriting history. Plus, there's the citizen action part of it. The input even suggests that everyday people can take steps, like filing FOIA requests or contacting their representatives to press for transparency.
Absolutely, Yeah, grassroots pressure can be a powerful tool. If enough people start asking questions, it forces agencies to be more accountable. It's democratic action in a modern, digital age.
Right, democratic indeed. I'm glad you brought that up because it shifts the conversation from, secret government programs to everyday citizen involvement. That, I think, is one of the more hopeful aspects of the leak.
Agreed. And finally, let's not forget the role of private researchers and scientific institutions. Organizations like the Galileo Project or the Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies are stepping up to provide a rigorous scientific look at these phenomena.
True, exactly. Right. And having that kind of independent research counters some of the more sensationalist claims while grounding the discourse in verified data. It reminds me a bit of how a good detective novel unfolds, layer by layer, evidence building up to a climax.
Yeah, exactly. Right, it's almost like a mystery where every piece of disclosed information adds another clue to a puzzle that's been hidden for decades. And with each whistleblower, each new legislative requirement, the picture becomes a bit more clear.
I guess what's most striking is that we're at a potential turning point where truth might just crack open the vault of secrecy that's guarded these mysteries for so long.
Absolutely, yes. But as we've discussed, it's a double-edged sword. Sure, public awareness is crucial, but the implications, technological, geopolitical, even existential, are massive and not without risk.
Right, indeed. So, to sum it up, we're looking at a historic shift. Governments are being pushed to reveal what they've kept under wraps, and whether that leads to a full teardown of old narratives remains to be seen.
Yeah, this leak isn't just a window into secret archives. It's a mirror reflecting our evolving relationship with the unknown. It challenges everything from our technology to our very understanding of humanity's place in the cosmos.
Right, very deep there. And as always, it's a conversation that each of us, as citizens and curious minds, has a part in. Stay curious and keep questioning, because the truth might be stranger than fiction.
Exactly.